If you've tried composting and it hasn't worked out for whatever reason, the good news is there aren't very many reasons for it not working. So I'm going to go through some of the things that you can check in order to correct some bad compost. The other good news is bad compost is usually just a hiccup on the way to making good compost. Now, I usually go through this checklist. So it probably is going to make more sense to use a flowchart, and it'll also make sense why I put temperature as the first thing on that checklist. So the first question to ask yourself is, has the compost got warm? And you may wonder, why does it matter if the compost has got warm when in nature stuff breaks down perfectly easily without it getting warm at all? In nature, things die, they decompose, and the plants are then able to use some of those macronutrients and micronutrients that came from the decay of the dead stuff. So why is temperature on there first? Well, one, it's a really easy thing to measure, so you know whether you've got the ratio of materials right. And two, it happens way faster. You enter what's called the thermophilic stage, where your compost gets really, really hot. So you can measure whether that's happening very easily with a thermometer, or just you can tell whether the compost has got hot because you can feel the heat coming off of it. And especially in a cold climate, you could be looking at a difference of between composting at 60 degrees or composting at 10 degrees. Composting at 60 degrees versus 10 degrees, because of what is called the Q10 coefficient, means that biological reactions happen at orders of magnitude greater. In basic terms, if you went from 10 degrees to 50 degrees, it's going to go up after the first 10 degrees, roughly double, then the second 10 degrees, roughly 4 times, 8 times, 16 times, 32 times. You've got brown materials and you've got green materials. This is generally fresh plant materials like green leaves, grass clippings, food scraps like vegetable peelings, and your brown materials, which will be things like wood chip, brown autumn leaves, unlined cardboard, paper, newspaper. So the fresh materials or the green materials will be things like manure, green leaves, grass clippings, coffee grounds. So even though some of those are physically brown materials, they have a higher nitrogen to carbon ratio. So if you've got 3 parts brown to 1 part greens by volume, it should get warm. You can look up the specific carbon to nitrogen ratio if you want to, but realistically, you're just going to use the materials that you have available to you. And it's gardening, not baking. So you're not going to be weighing out materials to decide what to add to your compost in most situations. But if it smells bad, then your compost has become anaerobic, and that can be because you've added too many green materials. So you need to add more browns at this stage, or turning your compost to aerate it to get that air back in, and then check, does it have a bad smell again? If it's not warm at all, has it got really, really dry? In this pile, I was adding probably too many brown materials, but you can also see that where there was a dip in this plastic sheeting, it was sending all of the rainwater to it, and it has broken down there. So in this case, if it was dry, all you need to do is either add water or add some more green materials, and then check, has it got warm? If it's not dry, is your pile big enough? Your compost pile should be 1.2 meters or 4 feet in every dimension, because if the pile's big enough, it can insulate itself. So if your pile isn't big enough, then you either need to insulate it or add more materials until your pile is big enough. Check whether it's warm again. And if your pile is big enough, like this one, but you've added materials that are probably a bit too big, then you need to do something like shredding the materials. So using a garden shredder or a wood chipper is ideal in this situation, and then check, is it warm again? So if it's warm and it doesn't smell bad, wait, and you'll have compost. All these other situations, you just need to change what I said to change, check whether it's warm, wait, and you'll get compost. Although I've got this chart, effectively, in time, given enough time, you're going to go from these materials, your plant materials, to this, whichever route that you decide to go. So you don't really have to overthink it. This is going to break down the plant materials and turn it into compost faster, making the nutrients available to your plants faster than if you just do chop and drop where you just chop the dead material, leave it where it is to just rot on the ground, or leave fallen tree leaves for them to just rot and become incorporated into the soil. There's loads more detail that I could go into over composting, but I wanted to keep this video fairly short so that you can troubleshoot quickly and get back to actually composting. I'm also going to leave some resources that are useful to links that you can go and find in the description so that you can troubleshoot it without having to go back through the whole video. I'll also do a video soon on how to use your compost effectively in the garden, so make sure you are subsided and belled so that you're ready to view that content when it comes out. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you again soon.